What if Poland was friendlier to their neighbors? And well, if for this to happen, Poland would have to give back the lands they have taken from Lithuania, known as Vilnius or Wilno. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly at all, but they seized the land from Lithuania during the Soviet-Polish War after World War I. And since then, Lithuania has never had friendly relations with Poland. But in this scenario, we would need that to happen so Poland can be so Lithuania can be friendlier to Poland, and we can have such a scenario, and to possibly form a Międzymor alliance where it is like Poland and Lithuania and other Baltic nations, which Poland already has friendly relations with, and they can possibly add in Romania, another nation they have friendly relations with. Now, another nation that didn't have friendly relations with Poland in our timeline would be Czechoslovakia, over border disputes. In this case, for Poland to have friendly relations, I do believe it is possible for them to come to an agreement, and just split the border by ethnic lines, and possibly cede some give access, military or road access, depending on the land. I don't know. And with these friendly relations, we can possibly consider Czechs a more desirable ally for the Polish, especially during when the Germans get ready to invade Czechoslovakia, especially after the Anschluss. We can increase the chances of Czechoslovakia declining it. Therefore, Germany would for sure lose the war automatically, as once they declare war on Czechoslovakia, the Polish join, and possibly Lithuanians. And once French and British see that Germany may or may not win, they might declare war on them, or they might also continue the appeasement plan and not let join at all, as this will already weaken Germany, but they also want to divert German aggression towards the Soviets. But also you can also consider the fact that a stronger Poland is already strong against the Soviets, especially with this mega alliance. If they were to have such, something like an anti-Soviet alliance, which the Polish had planned to be the Międzymor, which would be from the Baltic Sea all the way to the Black Sea, with Romania, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and possibly even Finland. Now, I'm pretty sure France would for sure join, and then Germany would get couped with the infamous coup that was gonna be planned if such a case as in Germany invading Czechoslovakia, the coup would have happened. But in our timeline, that didn't happen because the Czechoslovaks gave up so easily, and the Allies didn't want to do anything about it. Because, yeah, they were bums. That aside, after the war, I believe the borders we might end up with might come across these lines. I don't know what would happen with Kaliningrad, that region, but I mean, Poland can help out Lithuanians if there are too many Germans for them. And then we can give Poland that. And then I do believe the Czechs might take some parts of Silesia, depending how long the war was. There is a slight chance they might let Germany still be unified with Austria, but especially after this, as it might not be a long war, and German, they do believe in the self-determination during World War One, but there is also a chance that they might not be able to be able to unify with Austria ever again. But in this case, I'm gonna let them stay unified with Austria, as they aren't much of a threat, especially after this war, as they have been taken away of a region known as Silesia, which is very rich in iron resources and were pretty important for the German economy, and also taken away of their Prussian regions. And this is more of a easier to defend against if Germany were to invade ever again. And it is also possible. No, never mind. And in this scenario, the Soviets wouldn't ever think of invading the Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, or Romania. And even when Germany was gonna be at war with them, with those countries, and Soviets would never think of ever invading, because they were aware that the Allies would join, and they did not want to be at war with the Allies, especially while they were dealing with many problems. But while such a distraction might happen, I do believe they might still try to invade Finland, and since this war might end so quickly, especially during this war with especially this war that Germany just had, that might end quick because of the coup, which would make them democratic again. They might still have to deal the burden of Versailles, the Treaty of Versailles, but it might be lessened, as it was to our historical timeline, as they were lessening the treaty throughout time. There is also, I do believe, a slight chance that... Never mind, I forgot what I was going to say anyways. Although Germany has been weakened, Italy might still be a problem, especially if they do make a miniature Mediterranean axis with Spain and Portugal, as those nations were historically a nationalistic of some sort. And they might even add Bulgaria, and I don't know why it has this flag. Let me change that real quick. Oops. Whoa. Never mind. Yeah, I don't know, that something's wrong with this Bulgaria. Oh, wow. Had the wrong capital too. But yeah, a miniature Mediterranean axis with Bulgaria, Hungary, Spain, and Portugal, and they might even add in Romania. I don't know, they might stick with Poland, but that's a different problem. And obviously they might invade Yugo, and if Austria is to become independent, they might stay fascist or democratic, as historically Austria was a fascist nation, surprisingly. But yeah, if it were to be given independence, it might join back into a form of axis with Italy, as I doubt it would bear any burden of any economic payment to the Polish or Czechs is after the war. So we might get a miniature axis, like Italy, Austria, Hungary, Bulgaria, and Spain and Portugal. And I doubt the Allies would invade Italy when it takes over Albania. But I doubt this faction would ever do anything as in invading Yugoslavia, as in they are still guaranteed by France and possibly United Kingdom, and and they wouldn't want to declare into a war against these nations. But I do believe they can still possibly expand, and depending how long the war takes of them just brutally beating Germany up, they can possibly abuse the time, and possibly take some lands of Yugoslavia, not full out invade, but at least some lands across these lines. But I doubt they would actually fully invade. And but if they do get lucky, and it is possible a Croatian country does revolt during such a time, then it is possible that the Italians will increase the plant or increase their invasions into such a region, and the Serbians would be basically a fascist puppet to the Italians. But I don't believe they will ever invade Greece, as that's too much for the Allies to accept. But yeah, these regions would basically be Italian puppets, Montenegro and Yugoslavia, which would now be named as Serbia, as a fascist country, and own basically these regions. Same with Croatia, it would be fascist, not an Italian puppet, but it would be a fascist region. And Montenegro would be considered an Italian puppet also. And why is Spain in this faction? Same with Portugal, like I just mentioned. It would be like a nationalistic nation. It is possible for Hungary and Austria to have such ideas of invading the Polish faction, as they can have claims on these Bohemian, and Austria can claim these Bohemian regions, and Hungary can claim these Slovak regions, and possibly invade Romania for Transylvania. And Bulgaria might just stay neutral during the war, as they already did that during World War II. It is possible that this faction and Soviets do join in and declare war on Poland, Czechoslovakia, Romania, and basically all of Eastern Europe, while Germany could possibly just stay democratic. I doubt they would ever try again. It is possible. But in the case that they do declare war on Czechoslovakia, I do believe the Allies would join in and possibly win that war. Unless the Soviets join in, then that's too much. And this might happen around 1940, like 1941, when the war actually starts. So but both countries would have time to prepare, and that was the reason why France and Britain did appeasement in the first place, so they can buy time. But the Italians needed time. Same with Spain and same with Spain basically. So yeah, by the time they're gonna be two militarized countries ready for war, and that's why I believe around 1941 or 1942, war can happen. And same with the Soviets, they would be militarized for such a war, and it would be pretty deadly, possibly even more deadlier than World War II currently actually was, where we have the Soviets and the Italians against the Allied super faction, which would be France, UK, Poland, Romania, Czechoslovakia, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, and Finland. And possibly even Germany might join them in their cause, depending on how willing they were to become democratic. But I doubt they join the war at all and just stay neutral. They might try to unite with Austria. I don't know. how it would go. But I think that's it for now. That's where I'm gonna end the video. Goodbye.